Welcome back to the channel, guys. So what I have here is a DM on Twitter that I would like to talk to you guys about. It's more of a question, but before we go into that, hit the subscribe button. Help me out on my goal to 500 subscribers. I like doing these things on video as opposed to responding in the DMs, especially if it's something that I feel like I have to type out long paragraphs for. I know that's kind of annoying for people to read, so I try not to do that, but let's go ahead and read this. And my allergies kicking my butt, so if I sound weird, that's why. Anyways, it says here, hey, what's up, man? Great content, bro. Thank you. Question, and sorry if this is offensive. I know that bashing the MCU and DCEU seems to be the popular thing on YouTube. Why don't you do a channel like that? I'm only asking because I respect the fact that you don't. It always seems forced when people do it, or that they're just following the crowd for views and clicks. Thanks. Phoenix Justin Gaming. Thank you. First of all, asking this question is not offensive. I'm all for questions. I'm all for conversations. I don't get offended. So just to let you know that off rip. So this question here is pretty layered. Some layered questions here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off talking about the other YouTubers really quick, and then I'm going to circle back around to myself answering the question from my point of view. So when it comes to YouTubers, it's very easy to think that these people are doing this as far as like saying what they say about the DCEU, the MCU, the comics, the shows, whatever the case may be. It's easy to assume that they're doing it to follow the crowd. Now, there is a good chunk of people who are doing that. You know, that's just what it is on YouTube or anything that has an algorithm, anything that has to do with popularity, whether it be fashion, whether it be shows, whatever the case may be, people will jump on a wave and try to follow the crowd to try to gain some success off of that. That is true. That is why some people do it. But there is a population of people who do talk about Marvel and DC that are just passionate about comic book stuff. They're just passionate about the thing that they love, and they don't like it being ruined for whatever reason that they feel like it's being ruined. And they're just expressing it online and giving their opinion, and they have every right to do that. I'm all for freedom of speech. I'm all for people giving their opinion, and I'm not the type of person to try to tell people what to do with their YouTube channel. So for me, I love to see what people think and how they feel on both ends of the spectrum, whether they support or they don't like the DCEU, the MCU, or Marvel Comics. So also on the other end, there are people who are so passionate about this stuff, it can come off as if they're bashing it. And the other thing that we have to do is we actually have to define what we mean by the word bashing, because sometimes people can conflate the two. Like sometimes people think bashing is a person who has a critique about something that you like that isn't in favor of that thing that you like. Like for instance, if I say, hey, I hate black Air Force Ones, and if you're a person who like black Air Force Ones and you hear me say it a couple times, you might think I'm bashing. But at the end of the day, maybe I have a YouTube channel that the content is around shoes. And if that is the case, then I have to give my opinion on shoes, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean that the person is trying to bash. That doesn't necessarily mean that this person is trying to be evil. It's just sometimes people are just giving their opinion. But at the end of the day, I can't really answer, I can't really say why other people are doing it. Yes, there are some people who are doing it to follow a crowd, but I can't really say why they're all doing it. And to be honest with you, there are some people who fits in those categories that you're talking about that actually have some really good critiques, that those critiques are really 100% valid, to be honest with you. Not just because it's their opinion, but I agree with some of the stuff. I just don't really talk about it, right? And the reason why I don't talk about it, and this is back to me, is because I don't think it's a point. Now, when I grew up collecting comic books, because I've been collecting comic books for a long time, I've seen what happened to like my favorite character, and they were given to a different writer, and then they started ruining that character for whatever reason. So the idea of them taking characters from a comic book and ruining them in a movie, I already had that process happen to me before with comic books. So I've already been through that. So this part isn't new to me. Maybe I'm numb to it, but it is what it is. I've also taken business classes, and I am an entrepreneur myself. So I understand when it comes to any product or IP, once it gets acquired by a business, there is a really good chance that it's not going to even look the same anymore. It's a really good chance that that thing may not even be recognizable anymore. Have you guys ever seen like when there was a product that was acquired by a business, the logo changed, the name changed, sometimes what it even was supposed to be, it turned from a battery company to an air freshener company. I don't have any like data to support that, but sometimes the product have made a big drastic change to where it just, you don't even know what it is anymore. So knowing that when businesses get acquired, that can happen. Once Marvel was acquired by Disney, I already knew that there are some changes that can happen here. Like when we saw the new slate for Phase 5 when it comes to the MCU, I even told my friend, I was like, you know what? I see what they're coming out with. There's a good chance I'm gonna skip a lot of this and not watch it, which I have. If the last thing I see in the MCU is the Infinity Saga, I'm completely happy with that because I feel fulfilled with that. Did they do everything perfectly in the Infinity Saga? Absolutely not. There is some there's some dubs in there. Like there's really some really bad movies in there. But at the end of the day, there was a lot more good than bad in there to the point where I feel like I was satisfied and I got what I wanted out of it. So when the slate for Phase 5 came out, I was like, okay, there's a lot of this stuff that I can skip. There's a lot of characters in here that I don't care for, like the American Chavez, the Ironhearts, the who's the other ones? Miss Marvels. Like those characters, when I saw them in the comic books or read one of their comic books, I didn't really care. So it wasn't enough for me to care about them when they come to the silver screen. So with that being said, when there's a bunch of characters and things like that in this phase where I don't care about, then it's like, oh, okay, well, let the people who it's made for, I'm just gonna let them have it. It's for them. I'm fine with just looking at it like, okay, that's not for me, and then just keep moving on. As I do when I go to the comic book stores and I look and see, oh, this writer made this book, or the colorist here is doing this book. I'm not gonna read that and then just keep moving. I don't have the need or feel the need to really critique things because I feel like maybe I'm numb to it all, or either I just don't feel like there is a reason for me personally to do it. Everybody else does things different. I don't expect them to do it the way that I do it, but I just don't feel the need. Because for me, with life in general, when it comes to things, if I have to complain about it over and over, I have two choices. Either A, walk away from it and don't even talk about it anymore, or B, accept it for what it is and go along for the ride. So those are the only two choices I have for me, right? And with the MCU, with the critiques that I've had about it in my head, whether I talk to other people, it's gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what, continuity isn't enough for me to watch every movie that's involved in this. Even if I skip a bunch of them or don't watch them anymore, I'm absolutely fine with it. But when I see something that I do like my She-Hulk review where I thought it was okay, I'll let you guys know about it. But quote unquote bashing it or critiquing it harshly or whatever, I don't really care to do it. It's I look at the MCU like they have a crowd that they want to, push this towards, and I'm not a part of that crowd. And I'm not going to try to convince people not to watch it just because I don't like it. If there's food that I don't like, I'll tell you like, hey, maybe you might not like it. If the person like, oh, this is what I like, I just like, all right, then that's all you. You go ahead and eat it, but I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to watch that thing or be a part of that thing or support whatever that thing is that I don't like. So again, ultimately, I don't come on this channel to purposely try to focus in on. I'm gonna try to do my best to not bash whatever the MCU, DCEU, Marvel. That's not what I do here. I just come on here and make content that I like. Hopefully, it gravitates to certain people and they can watch it and comment on it, and we can have a great conversation in the comment section. I don't think about what way I'm going with this. I don't have a niche or whatever the case may be. So hopefully that answers the reason why I don't quote unquote bash the MCU. I mean, everything they do is pretty much par for the course. Like we already know what type of shows they're gonna come out. Most of their movies are gonna feel like The Incredibles over and over, but they're made by Disney. So what do we really expect? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we expect for Disney? Do we expect them to make something like crazy or something like that? I don't expect that, but that's just me. But anyways, what do you guys think? Do you guys like bashing the MCU? Do you guys not like bashing it? What do you feel about YouTubers bashing it? Let me know in the comment section, please, guys. Let's just keep it clean. Let's keep it clean. But I don't mind, like I said, I don't mind hearing it from both sides of the spectrum. I'm absolutely fine with doing that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm about to go take some Allegra. Salute. Peace. Have a good day. Forgot to add this, before I end the video. So the only time that you would actually hear me talk anything like really, I guess, negative about the MCU is like stuff surrounding it. Like for instance, like when I talk about Ezra Miller with the DCEU, whether it has to do with cancellations of movies when it comes to the WB and the DCEU, like things like that. Like I will say something about that. So I won't lie to say that I will never say anything surrounding it, but I don't have a continuously critique about what they do because again, it has nothing to do with me unless it's something like super serious or something like that. Then I may speak on that. I just wanted to clarify that part of it. Thank you.